Metal Man, sponsored by Metal Street Radio. Crank it up!
Hello, Metal Matt here. I deal with an absolute guitar legend today. It's the Shredding Master. It's my personal all-time favourite guitarist. I'm interviewing him here at his Steel Mill venue. Absolute legend, KK Downey.
Matt,
Nice to meet you, KK.
you too, mate. Thank you for coming up to Wolverhampton and welcome to the Steel Mill.
So Ken, personally I find it really hard whenever anyone asks me my favourite Judas Priest album or song. It's so difficult because one of the things with Priest, which I love, is they're not repetitive. Each album, I feel you're trying to bring something different and experiment, and it never gets kind of stagnant. If someone was real new to Priest, you know, some teenager who's just getting into metal and they want an album that is going to get them into Priest, what album do you think kind of epitomises what Judas Priest is about?
Yeah, I get asked this quite a lot and it's so difficult. It is really difficult, but I think if I can just elaborate a little bit really on that, I think I've got to go with British Steel.
Really?
Yeah. You know, I've got to do that because I think that was the album for Judas Priest that consolidated everything.
Right.
You know, because it was the first album that, you know, that Judas Priest was completely, had the leather, studs look, you know, everything on that album was quite complete for Priest.
You got to think what Rob Halford did. When he was at the head of Judas Priest, he got all these straight guys to dress like they're in a gay biker gang because they wanted to be cool like Judas Priest.
I think just prior to that album, I think there was just myself and Rob that were kind of wearing leather and stuff. And then suddenly it just, you know, thankfully, it just came together, that, you know, because I kind of tell a story that, like, when I was growing up, when I was a kid, my two sisters used to drive me mad listening to the transistor radio, listening to the Beatles and Elvis and Cliff Richards and all of that stuff, you know, and all of that Mersey beat stuff, you know. And I became aware that a lot of these bands all had a uniform look. They all had the same clothes, the same haircut and everything. So what did we all do as blues rock musicians? We gave that wide berth, you know. So we thought, we go out there, we all have our own separate identities, and that's what we do. And you go back through history and look at the bands, Zeppelin, Taste, Free, you know, whoever it is, you know, everybody's got their own, I'm going to wear this tonight, and this guy looks like... Because we didn't want that kind of uniform look. And then as we kind of were evolving as a band, you know, I was always kind of dark, heavy, moody. Could never be heavy enough, you know, heavier the better, whatever it is. But at some point, so we had a great name for the band, Judas Priest, moody, great, you know, songs great. All of that was evolving, you know. But along the way, the clothes kind of stayed the same in a way that they were kind of bright and kind of, you know, eclectic colour-wise, you know, yellows, pinks, can I say, greens. And sometime in the mid-70s, I'm thinking, it's not right. Surely what we do in here, the colour for us has to be black.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm thinking it has to be black. So I'm thinking, I'm going black.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Whatever happened in black. And by that time, I was wearing some like over-the-knee black leather boots and stuff. I did have some white ones made that were really cool. Yeah. But I'm thinking, you know, the leather thing, a bit more came into it. Yeah. Black, leather. And I don't know what happened. And I'm thinking, but I want people to see me, you know, I'm going to stick some shiny stuff on there. It's got to be metal studs, whatever, you know. And I was always one of those guys. I mean, you know, just elaborating a bit too much, but even in the mid-80s, I was going to the hardware store and buying studs and knocking them into my guitars, you know. More studs, more metal. I was always like that. But then it came to me, the fact that what we really need, this band really needs, we do need a uniform look, because it'll make us more powerful.
Yeah.
I'm thinking our image will be more, we go out there and I don't know, it's like an army platoon or whatever. Something that bonds us all together. And I'm thinking that needs to be worked on a bit. And I was absolutely right, because proudly from the point on, we would be waiting to go on stage wherever we were in the world, and we're there and I would look at my bandmates who were there with all this leather and studs. We weren't exactly the same. We all had our own kind of different clothes, but the common denominator was like leather, black, and the studs. And I'm thinking, I could see the lights glittering on us, and it just felt really powerful. And we went out there in a kind of regimented look type of way, and that's what we really did need to have. And of course, then really proudly, it was great that spilled over into the audience. The audiences took, denim, leather, studs, and the Metal Army was being born, and great, and so. Fantastic that it all happened. Yeah. So going back to the question, obviously all of that really did come to fruition with British Steel, because we had then great band name, great album. We felt we just made a really good album. Great, didn't really know it at the time, but the album cover, metal, and that razor blade, there was blood all over that album cover to start with, but we had to curtail it a little bit. And then and we had the look, so everything came together, and we went out there, and I really do think metal was really truly made, was born and made, and was set sail on that British Steel tour. Brilliant. So it's got to be that album, I think. Really, everything before was getting to that point. And everything after was a result of that point.
Yeah.
Metal Mouse, sponsored by Metal Street Radio. Crank it up!